Welcome back to yet another tutorial. I hope that you're finding a lot of good information and that I've encouraged you to start doing the work for yourself and taking care of yourself. In the beginning, I always was kind of resentful and ungrateful for doing it, and actually now I'm super grateful because I have the ability to take care of myself. I am getting better, and doing self-care is a version of self-love, so it can be very therapeutic for those of you that are watching at home. So try not to have a negative spin on doing all this work. There's so much to do, but you want to break it down into really manageable pieces and manageable steps so that you can be consistent and then get the result. I am a huge advocate of doing your own massage as well as having a certified lymphedema therapist, because sometimes we can't always get to therapy, but with this condition known as lymphedema and or lipedema, daily maintenance is the best. And I don't know about you, but I do not have the income to hire a full-time certified lymphedema therapist. So do try to take some of the initiative and do this on a daily basis. It will really change your condition. When you're doing manual lymphatic drainage, there are some basics that always will come up, no matter which part of the body that you're trying to massage. So let's get into it. You will need to open up your head and your neck and your clavicle. You're also going to need to open up the axillary region. You're going to need to open up the sternochyli, the inguinal area, and even behind the knees if you get that far. So first and foremost, you always want to pump and drain and scoop those fingers into the clavicle to open up the head and the neck. Do a backward 7. Up the jawline and down the neck. Up the jawline, down the neck. You're going to do everything in the counts of 4. And then back to the clavicle. If you do this properly, you should feel yourself swallowing, and that's a great way to know that you're on the right track. So no matter if you're compromised, you're gonna open up the body the exact same way, opening up these areas, pulling and releasing, switching to the other side. Into that sternochyli, take those fingers and drive them into your tummy. Big breath in, squeeze and exhale out. Big breath in, squeeze, exhale out. And now we're gonna go to the inguinal area. Again, pump and flush, pump and flush. So again, you're squeezing and releasing into that watershed area. And then we're gonna get into some arm drainage. Let's just assume that I have lymphedema in my left arm and my left side is compromised. You're gonna go back to that left arm, trying to open those drains. But what you might end up doing is, because you are compromised here due to surgery, radiation, so on and so forth, take anything that is sitting here and dragging it either down into the inguinal area if you're not compromised there, or take your hand and pull across to the other side. Okay? So what you want to do is help this fluid travel from the areas that's compromised to get it away, because as you work on this area, we're going to be putting more fluid in here. So again, opening this area, we've moved that fluid out, and now you're going to start with your manual lymphatic drainage. So what I find is that your joints typically fill up with fluid the most. So this is where I kind of take my fingers and I'm just trying to start breaking down that fibrosis. Anything that gets trapped in that tissue, kind of squeezing. You might want to try to skin roll, where you pinch the skin and you just kind of roll it on itself to try to break it up. So the first thing that I try to do is to break up anything that's stiff. Once it becomes a little bit loose, then you take that space between the thumb and the forefinger, the pericule, I believe it's called, and just kind of pull and drain. You can pull it up into your neck if you're not compromised, because we've cleaned up that area. Or you can drag it across the chest. And using and going back down the arm from behind the tricep, massaging even that bicep, almost as if you're milking the limb. And then you're gonna get to the elbow joint. And again, this might be where a lot of fluid gets trapped. Digging your fingers in, playing with that elbow. And then again, you wanna always do this milking technique. Again, if you find that it's really, really stiff and really, really puffy, it's okay to just kind of dig into it and roll into it. Again, breaking down any of that fibrotic tissue. But you always want to finish with a milking upward stroke. And you start obviously at the shoulder, work down the limb, and then always back up. You're just starting this process. I find it's hard to tell somebody to do manual lymphatic drainage for an hour. So start with the areas that are most compromised, trying to break them down so that the next time that you do manual lymphatic drainage, hopefully your efforts are being remembered by the tissue, and then it breaks down even faster. Taking your hand, I'm gonna pump and bend, and pump and bend, pump and bend to flush out that fluid. And then again, using my fingers on my working hand to drag the thumbs to pull any fluid that might be in my hand, underneath and on top of the fingertips, underneath and on top. And then again, you want to press on any of the bones, right in between the joints, massaging them, spending that time, circling through the palm of the hand, working through those joints, pinching that skin and dragging that fluid down. Again, using that thumb in between the joints to pull and to drag. If the top of your hand always seems to be full of fluid, you may want to look at getting a garment that will put actually a foam pad in the top, or you can get some swell spots, and when you do your bandaging, you can put a swell spot underneath your bandages to help eat away at that extra puffiness. Pulling and dragging. And then again, pump and flush, pump and flush. And again, I'm just doing a really quick job on this to show you what to do. If you find that your hand is really compromised, you might want to spend a little bit more time massaging it through. Again, using your hands, using that pericule to pull on that skin, to milk it out on the top, on the forearm and underneath. Using those fingertips to kind of dig through those joints, trying to get down. Get some definition in there. Get some of that fluid that gets stuck, get it unstuck, and then milking it through back to the top of the shoulder. And again, you can push it up into the head and the neck. But remember, pump and drain that clavicle. Right, you don't want it to be going up into your head. We don't need any swollen heads around here, but pump and drain through that clavicle. And then again, dragging to the areas that are not compromised, whether that be the inguinal or whether that be the opposite side. And then finish off with big deep breaths. Please keep in mind, manual lymphatic drainage is just another tool in your toolbox. Try to be consistent with it. Try to do this on a daily basis, but as well, getting really good compression for daytime and nighttime garments is important. The foods that you eat will affect your swelling, as well as the exercise that you do is also going to help keep your swelling at bay. All these small little tools and these self-care habits really do make a difference, and I hope that by watching these videos, I've encouraged you to start. I've encouraged you to keep it going, because at the end of the day, the only thing that seems to be consistent is you showing up for yourself. If we had the unlimited resources to have a personal trainer, personal chef, personal certified lymphedema therapist, it would be such a different situation. But unlike most people, we have to do the work, and it really does make a difference. And at the end of the day, it does turn into a labor of love. So on that note, go and have a massage, go take care of yourself, and I'll see you again.